In this video, I'm going to teach you how to build a personal credit profile to get you approved for $50,000 to $100,000 in business credit, even if you're starting from zero. Let's begin. Okay, family, what is going on? So this video is specifically for the individuals that are looking to get access to capital and you are starting from zero on the personal credit side. If you know anything about accessing business credit, whether it's through content you've consumed on my end, research that you've done on your own, the most effective way for you to get access to capital is by leveraging your personal credit report. So for a lot of you who are finding out for the first time and you're starting from zero, you want to be able to have a roadmap that shows you the exact step-by-step blueprint you need to take to create a personal credit profile that actually looks attractive to the lenders that you want to work with to secure funding, whether it's for your real estate company, your consulting firm, your marketing agency, whatever it may be. Okay. The big mistake most people make once they find out that their personal credit report plays a huge role when it comes to getting access to business funding is they immediately beeline to start applying for credit cards, right? With all these big lenders. The problem with that is if you're starting from zero, once again, you have little to no personal credit at all. What's most likely going to happen is three things. Number one, you're more than likely going to get denied because your personal credit profile probably isn't in the position that it needs to be in to get approved, even on the personal side, which we'll talk about in a second. Number two, if you do get approved, unfortunately, you'll get approved for smaller limits, which I'm sure that when you're applying for these personal credit cards, you're not looking to get $300 to $500 limits. You probably want something a little bit more sizable, right? And number three, whether you're getting denied or whether you're getting smaller limits, either way, you're going to end up with multiple inquiries on your credit report, which is what you really don't want because essentially every time you get an inquiry on your report, it's dropping your credit report by up to 5 to 7 points. And on top of that, it can stay on your credit report for up to 2 years. It negatively affects it for up to 1 year, but stays on your report for up to 2 years, right? So we want to take a much more calculated approach that will allow for us to preserve our report and avoid the inquiries, preserve our report and avoid the low limits, and preserve our report and make sure that we're not getting, denied outright for these personal credit cards to set that foundation that we want for business credit. And what does that look like? Well, once again, if you're starting from zero, before you go and run out into the wild and start applying for personal credit cards, the first thing I need for you to do is actually start applying with credit builders. Now, for those of you who don't know, credit builders are great if you're starting from zero because credit builders do a lot of what you would be looking to do with personal credit, which is strengthening your credit report without a lot of some of the things that come with personal credit, if you will. So one of the primary ones being typically when you're applying for a personal credit card, you're more than likely going to get an inquiry on your report. Whereas with a credit builder, majority of them, if not all of them, do not leave any dings on your report when you're applying for them. And similar to personal credit cards, it helps you to build payment history, helps you to build length of credit history, and overall helps to set that foundation for you to start applying for personal credit cards later, which we're going to get to. So my rule of thumb when I tell people this is you want to look for the best credit builders to apply for. Now, what I typically recommend is either looking at either secured installment loans or to look at credit builder program. For those who don't know, if you know about secured cards, then a secured loan pretty much is just a installment line of credit version of a secured credit card where you take your own money, you put it in a savings account with a lender that you already have a relationship with, you borrow against that money and you're pretty much paying it back, but in actuality, you're just making deposits of your money back into that account you have with the lender and it shows on your credit report. So there's no credit inquiry. You're using money that you already have and you're building a relationship with that bank. And here's a quick gem for you guys. And I actually learned this from another contemporary of mine in the funding space. Another great way for you to leverage this is if you have a lot of cash on hand, instead of doing what most people do with these secured loans, let's say if you have like $1,000, $2,000 and you're willing to let that sit as a secured loan in that account, you could do that. So then that way, when that account shows on your credit report as a installment line of credit, it's more sizable, which in turn makes your credit look a lot better while you're still in the building phase. But if you can't and you only have like $100 to $200 to use the strategy, that's perfectly fine. It'll still get the job done because the name of the game is building positive payment history, building length of credit history, and everything else in between. And then the other option would be credit builder programs, right? So with a credit builder program, what's great about this, there are a bunch that are out there. So for example, most people don't know this, but like most of you guys who may be watching, let's say you pay rent, right? If you're paying rent, there are actually programs out there that will allow for you to take your rental payments that you're making every single month and have them show on your credit report. And there are even some programs that allow for you to backdate your payment history with those rental payments that you're now reporting up to 2 years. What do I mean by that? Let's say we're in 2026 right now. You sign up with a rental reporting company to have it show on your credit report, but you've been paying rent for the last 10 years. Some of them will allow you to go back to, let's say, 2024 and have all those payments that you've made show on your report. So you're immediately getting at least 2 years of backdated history added to your report. Especially if you have a super thin profile, that is huge. Length of credit history is one of the hardest things to manipulate when it comes to your credit profile because nobody has control over time. But these rental accounts allow for you to essentially cut the line when it comes to that and put you in a premium position to set that foundation for those credit cards. Now, once you apply for these credit builders, the goal is to try and open anywhere between 2 to 3. So one thing I want to tell you guys, and this is important in the personal credit building process, is there such a thing as too much credit on the personal side? I believe so, yes. Because if the end goal is ultimately for you to get to business credit, you do not need 80 credit builders. It's just unnecessary. 2 to 3, because they're really a stepping stone for you to get those personal credit cards, which those are a stepping stone to get the business credit cards, is more than enough. And just building with those over an extended period of time should get you to the promised land. The reason why I say that is because if you're constantly applying for new lines of personal credit, whether it be through credit builders or credit cards, it's decreasing your overall age of credit, which is ultimately hurting your report, okay? Because every time that you open a new account, it's making your credit profile look younger and younger. That's why for me personally, I can't remember the last time I opened a personal credit card. It's probably been several years, because I've just been hyper focused on taking the 7 to 8 cards that I have and just building with those. And the same applies for credit builders. Now, once you get those credit builders open, then from there, you have a foundation that is strong enough. Once you let them sit for a few months, for you to now start transitioning over to personal credit cards. The biggest question that I get whenever I'm guiding you guys on when it comes to personal credit or business credit is, what lenders should I be looking at? What lenders should I be applying for, right? And the two things that I always try and tell, especially now in the year 2026, and I'm going to highlight this when I say this, the two types of lenders that you want to prioritize in this process of applying for personal credit, number one are lenders you already have relationships with. And number two, lenders that are either on a regional level or national level. I'm going to make regional in bold because I'm actually very bullish on regional in the year 2026. But the reason why I say these two is because if you already have a relationship with a lender, so let's say you've had a checking account with a bank that you've known since you were like 18, 19 years old, and you're 25, 26 now, or even since you were at whatever age, for however long, because you already have your foot in the door with that lender, it will behoove you to continue building with them by now going back and applying for a line of credit. One, because not only are they more likely to approve you, but they're more likely to approve you for a larger limit on the personal side, paired with, because of the experience you have with them, paired with these credit builders that you've been letting season on your credit report. You understand me? Now listen, let's say for whatever reason, you're really starting from ground zero. Like you don't even have banks you have relationships with, right? Which for most of you guys, you probably should. But if you don't, I always recommend regional banks. And the reason why is because with regional banks, their underwriting is way more flexible than most national lenders. They have smaller applicant pools, meaning that, from an application standpoint, because they know they're in competition with, the heavy hitters within the lending space, they're going to be more likely to give you larger approvals. And it's much easier to build long-term relationships with those individuals. Once you find whatever lenders that you want to start applying for personal credit with, similar to the credit builders, you don't need more than 1 to 2 to 3 personal credit cards max. Anything more than that, if that's just your own personal agenda and you want to have a Rolodex of personal credit cards, like I've seen people who have like literally phone books of credit cards that they have on the personal credit side and the business credit side. If that's your agenda, hey, God bless. But do you need that? Absolutely not. Once you have 2 to 3, once you get to that sweet spot, the name of the game is getting them secured. And then from there, moving on to the next step, which is building comparable credit. You find the lenders that you want to work with, you apply for personal credit cards with them, and you start to build comparable credit. And one quick thing, actually, before I talk about comparable credit that I think I skipped past, I gave you guys some guidance on what to do when it comes to what cards to apply for. In terms of what not to do, please stay away from retail store cards and subprime lenders. So if you're watching this, do not start applying for credit cards with BJ's, TJ Maxx, Target, and Victoria's Secrets, or any of these stores, Best Buy. No personal animus against them, but it's just that the quality of the accounts you put on your report matter. And when you're applying for business credit later on down the line, a bank is going to view a credit line that you have with a regional bank compared to one that you have with a retail store credit card very differently when it comes to how they view your risk profile in terms of how much, if they're going to approve you, and how much they're going to approve you for. So something to think about. I would say the safe bet for you guys is just staying very far away from these lines altogether, and you should be good to go. Now, going back to comparable credit, once you have your two to three personal credit cards, chances are, because you're starting from ground zero, you didn't get the limits that you wanted. Maybe you got anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000, $5,000 if you are lucky on those personal credit lines, which I'm sure for you is not the most assuring thing in the world. But the good news is we can build from this, right? The name of the game is just getting your foot in the door. And once your foot is in the door, everything else after the fact becomes super duper easy. And I'll explain why. What you want to do once you have these approvals with these cards is to build your comparable credit. Now, most people don't know, but when you're applying for business credit with these lenders, they're going to look at the size of the limits that you have on the personal credit side and weigh that into their decision making when it comes to how much they give you on the business side. Why? Because if your limits on the personal side are very minimal, then it's going to be very hard for a bank to justify why they would give you substantial limits. So if you only have $1,000 to $2,000 limits on your personal credit cards, but you're applying for a $25,000 credit line from a big lender, they're more than likely not going to approve you for that. Or if they do, they're going to approve you for way less than what you would have looked for. But if you took the time to build up your limits on these cards by doing what? Making your payments on time, and then every 3 to 6 months, circling back with that lender and asking for a credit limit increase, that's the name of the game. Now, what I would recommend for you guys to do is you want to try and get your limits to at least $10,000 on the personal credit side. So let's say you have 3 credit cards, try and get at least 3 of them at the 10K mark, because once you get to the 10K mark, anything above that, awesome. Anything lower than that, you could still get approved for business credit, but once again, you may just not get the limits that you're looking for, which is what I want to position you guys to be able to do. We have our credit builders, we have our personal credit lines, we've built our comparable credit. The next step is us understanding the structure of a strong credit profile. I don't want to just give you guys the step-by-step for you to start implementing it and put yourself in position, but not understand how to maintain that position. Getting there is one part, is one step of the process. Staying there is where the real work begins. Now, the reason why it's so difficult for most people to not just do the work, but to keep everything in place that helps them to be able to circle back for funding later is because they don't understand how they need to position themselves after the fact to make sure that whether it's today, whether it's 4 years from now, 6 years from now, that they're always able to, as an urban youth would say, spin the block back, spin back the block and apply for funding. Now, what does that look like? Well, that looks like understanding how to keep your profile in a position where it looks attractive to lenders. And that's 5 things. So that's your payment history, your inquiry count, your utilization, and your comparable credit, of course, and your account mix. So what that looks like for you guys is making sure that you never get any late payments on any of these cards that we've built up. I know some of you, I've actually met people, funny enough, who are anti-auto pay, which for me doesn't make sense because it was money that you were going to pay anyways. Why would you leave it in your own hands, as busy as you may be, to pay those things on your own and ultimately risk dropping your credit score by 50 to 100 points after just spending the last year building it up? If you have a credit card or anything that's on your credit report and you're watching this and it's not on auto pay, pause this video, go put those things on auto pay, and then come back and finish watching this video. That's how important it is, okay? After that, you want to make sure that you have no more than 2 to 3 inquiries on any of your credit reporting agencies. Anything more than that, you start to increase your risk profile in the eyes of lenders, and ultimately that hurts your ability to be able to work with them to get them money that you're trying to get approved for. Utilization, of course, you want to keep that below 10%. People will say 30% is the max. Yes, it is, but my rule of thumb that I typically coach individuals on is trying to keep it below 10%. Why? Because it actually helps your credit report more than keeping it at 30%. You want to, once again, make sure that you keep your limits at that 8 to 10K range. And lastly, make sure that you keep a healthy mix. So with some of those credit builders, like for me personally, I have credit builders that I built when I built going all the way back to 2020 that are still on my report to this day. Because although they're not strong accounts, they still have a lot of history on there that contribute to the overall standing of my credit profile. I have friends of mine that hated I have secured cards that when I got them, I'm like, man, I hate this. But now I'm like, this is my oldest card that I have. If I remove this from my report, my age is going to plummet, right? The limit on there may not be the most favorable, but the age is definitely something to see. So that's what it is, right? And on top of that, you also want to make sure that you have strong average credit limits. Now, what does that mean? Strong average credit limits, meaning that the limits that we've just spent the last time, over the course of the past couple of months building up, you want to make sure that those continue to get maintained. And then lastly, you also want to make sure that you have a healthy mix of installment and revolving accounts. So those credit builders that you opened up to set the foundation for you to get that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, not 10, 20 and 30,000, but those $10,000 personal credit cards, you want to make sure that you keep those credit builders open as long as you possibly can, because the age that's attached to them is going to help you in the long term when it comes to having a strengthened profile. For myself personally, even at the position I'm at now, where I've gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars in business credit, I still have my very first secured card that's sitting on my credit profile, building up the history. I still have credit builders from like COVID that are sitting on my credit report, building up their credit history, and they're not going nowhere. Because once again, they contribute to the overall age of what's being shown on my credit report, which is uber important. Now, the next thing you want to do as well when it comes to protecting this profile that you just spent so much time building is understanding 2 things. Understanding where credit reporting agencies are pulling from with lenders that you're working with, but then understanding the power of relationship banking as well. These 2 things are super duper important, because understanding where these lenders are pulling from when you're applying for them is going to help you to keep that inquiry account low when it comes to how your personal credit profile is being positioned. And with the relationship banking, the power of that is, once again, having your foot in the door with those lenders is going to allow for you to not just get approved, but get approved for larger limits as well. So that we're not only leveraging our personal credit profile, but doing everything within our power to make sure that it stays protected. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video. Now, if you receive value from this video and you want to learn more about what it would look like to work with me and my team, if you're watching this and you have a 700 plus credit score and a business that's doing at least $500,000 in revenue, and you want for us to help you get access to capital, the link to work with us is going to be in the description below. Or if you currently are looking to get access to capital, but you can't because your personal credit isn't in the position where you you need for it to be and you want for us to help you restore it, the link for that as well to work with me and my team will also be in the description below. And lastly, for all of my early stage business owners that want coaching and mentorship on how to structure a business, clean their personal credit profile, and strategies around getting access to capital for themselves and by themselves, if you're interested in learning more about that, the link for that program also will be in the description below. But that's all for this video, family. Until next time, peace.